Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. Operations continue against the Afghan Taliban and Indian-backed militants along the Pak-Afghan border in Kurram district, following unprovoked firing from across the border. The Pakistan Army destroyed 4 Taliban tank positions at Shamshad Post within an hour, dealing a significant blow to the attackers. Security sources have also confirmed the killing of a key Khawarij commander during the operation, while the attackers abandoned their posts and fled in the face of the army's fierce response. Earlier, the military targeted Taliban positions with precision strikes and set multiple posts ablaze. Exchanges of gunfire continued intermittently, while civilians from nearby areas are moving to safer zones amid fears of further escalation. The Pakistan Army has foiled attacks by Afghan Taliban and other terrorist groups in Chaman's Spin Boldak area. The terrorists launched early morning attacks at 3 different locations, which were repelled after effective retaliation. The Afghan Taliban and terrorists used villages and civilians as human shields. According to reports, 15 to 20 Afghan Taliban were killed in the retaliation. Israel has warned that it will sharply reduce humanitarian aid and keep border crossings closed unless Hamas returned the remains of Israeli hostages on time. Following that threat, Hamas handed over more bodies to the Red Cross. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has warned that Hamas must disarm or face forced disarmament. US President Donald Trump has warned he's considering cutting some trade ties with China, specifically targeting cooking oil imports, even though analysts say those shipments have already dropped sharply over the past year. In a post on social media, Trump accused Beijing of deliberately hurting American soybean farmers, calling China's actions an economically hostile act. He said the US is weighing measures to terminate business with China involving cooking oil and other trade areas as possible retribution. Russia has carried out overnight drone strikes targeting Ukraine's power infrastructure, knocking out electricity in several regions, including the central Dnipropetrovsk area. Power grid operator Ukrenergo says supplies have been restricted in 7 regions, mostly in the east, while the state-run gas company confirmed that a thermal power plant was hit, though it did not specify which one. The International Monetary Fund has reached a staff-level agreement with Pakistan, paving the way for the release of $1.2 billion after approval from the fund's executive board. The IMF has praised Pakistan's recent economic progress, including its first current account surplus in 14 years. Iran has rejected President Trump's latest call for dialogue, accusing Washington of hostile and criminal behavior. Foreign Ministry says President Trump cannot claim to seek peace while backing strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. Tehran says it remains open to respectful diplomacy, but not under US pressure. The United Nations says several countries, including European and Arab nations, Canada and the US, are willing to help fund Gaza's $70 billion reconstruction. The 2-year war has left behind 55 million tons of rubble, while the UN estimates it could take decades to rebuild. Pakistan has been elected to the United Nations Human Rights Council for the 2026 to 2028 term, with a strong majority. The election at the UN General Assembly reaffirms Pakistan's role as an active voice on global human rights issues. The European Union has sought US and G7 support to counter China's new export curbs on rare earth minerals. EU Trade Chief Maros Sefcovic called the move a critical concern and said ministers are exploring joint action. China's controls have already triggered global supply fears and a sharp market reaction after President Trump threatened 100% tariffs. Apple's smartphone shipments in China have grown slightly, up 0.6% from a year earlier, reaching 10.8 million units in the 3rd quarter. According to research firm IDC, this modest rise comes despite sluggish demand across China's smartphone market. The data also shows Apple climbed to second place, holding a 15.8% market share in the September quarter. Gold has risen to a fresh high just shy of the $4,200 per ounce level, buoyed by rising expectations of further US rate cuts, while renewed US-China trade worries also boosted safe haven demand. Spot gold is up 0.9% at $4,178.15 per ounce, after hitting a record high of $4,186.68 earlier in the session. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.